Okay, today we're going to talk about a philosophy that can totally transform how you think about your machines. It's called Total Productive Maintenance, or TPM for short, and it's all about aiming for that perfect day of production. You know, the one with zero breakdowns. Let's get into it.
We've all been there, right? You're pushing to meet a deadline, everything is running smoothly, and then, bam, silence. A critical machine just dies. It seriously feels like it's programmed to fail at the absolute worst moment. But what if that didn't have to be your reality?
So this slide really gets to the heart of it. It shows two completely different mindsets. Over on the left, you've got the old way. Something breaks, you scramble to call the maintenance crew, and everyone just kind of accepts that downtime is part of the deal. But look at the right, the TPM way. It's proactive, it makes maintenance everyone's job, and the goal? It's not just less downtime, it's aiming for zero breakdowns. A whole different ballgame.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the problem, that old if it ain't broke, don't fix it mindset. Then we'll get into TPM as the solution, this total revolution in thinking. We'll break down its 8 core pillars, talk about how you actually put it into practice, and then the best part, what it looks like when you're at peak performance.
First up, let's really dig into that traditional approach. In this world, the maintenance team is in its own little silo. They're the firefighters who rush in to save the day when something goes wrong. But the thing is, they're always just reacting, always playing catch-up, stuck in this never-ending cycle of breakdown and repair. It creates this invisible wall between the operators running the machines and the folks fixing them. And that's exactly where TPM flips the script. This isn't just some new procedure or a fancy checklist. It is a full-blown maintenance revolution. The whole philosophy pivots from a reactive culture of fixing things to a proactive culture of preventing things from breaking in the first place. Honestly, it's a game changer. So, what is it exactly? Well, total productive maintenance is a strategy that's built on a really simple but really powerful idea. Everyone in a facility, and I mean everyone, from the operator to the top manager, is involved in maintenance. It's not just the maintenance team's problem anymore. And this is the most important thing to get. At its core, TPM is a culture change. It's about empowering your whole team. It's about recognizing that the person who runs a machine day in and day out knows it better than anyone. It's about using the unique skills of all your employees to take care of the equipment they rely on. Now, you can't just build a new culture on good intentions, right? You need a solid foundation. For TPM, that foundation is built on what's known as the 8 pillars. So let's take a look at what holds this whole thing up. Yep, 8 of them. And this isn't just a random list of ideas. It's a complete structured system. You've got things like autonomous maintenance, which is where operators handle the day-to-day upkeep themselves. Then there's planned maintenance, scheduled by the experts, and quality maintenance to stop defects before they happen. It also covers things like improving equipment design, training for everyone, and of course, a huge focus on safety. So when you put all those pillars together, they work towards some pretty powerful goals. The whole idea is to weave maintenance right into the fabric of your daily operations and to actually use the skills of every single person on your team. When you do that, you naturally get better teamwork, you see productivity shoot up, and waste starts to disappear. It's a system where every part supports the others. Okay, this all sounds pretty amazing in theory, but you're probably wondering, how do we actually do this? Well, the great news is you don't have to guess. There's a clear roadmap. The path to implementing TPM is a structured journey, not just a leap of faith. Now, the full-on process has 12 steps, but we can really boil them down into these 4 main phases. First, you got the preparation phase. That's all about getting leadership buy-in and setting clear goals. Then you move into the introduction, where you train everybody and kick the whole thing off. The implementation phase is where you really roll out those 8 pillars we talked about. And finally, you have the consolidation phase, which is all about locking in your wins and always aiming higher. But here's what you really need to remember from this section. You can't just wish your way into a TPM culture. Success, absolutely, 100%, depends on having a clear master plan right from the start, and a dedicated team structure to make sure the change actually happens. Commitment from the top down is totally non-negotiable. So, let's say you've done all the hard work. You've changed the culture, you've implemented the pillars. So what? What's the actual payoff? Well, this is where we get to see the real, tangible results of what it means to reach peak performance. The benefits are just huge. Your teams start working together like a well-oiled machine. Productivity goes up, waste goes down, your entire process becomes clearer and way more efficient.
But maybe the biggest win of all is that you build this proactive, empowered culture where people really take ownership and pride in their work and their equipment. But you can't just go by gut feeling. You need to be able to prove this is working, right? You need data. And the gold standard for measuring this kind of success is a metric called OEE, which stands for Overall Equipment Effectiveness. And this is what that success looks like on paper. OEE basically gives your machine a report card based on its availability, its performance, and the quality of what it produces. Before TPM, your score might be just okay. But after you've truly embedded this culture, you see this dramatic, measurable jump. The numbers don't lie. It's the difference between just running and absolutely flying.
When it's all said and done, it comes back to this one simple, powerful idea. This isn't really about buying new tools or fancy software. It's about people. The ultimate goal of total productive maintenance is to build a culture where maintenance isn't just a department, it's a shared responsibility that everyone feels.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What about your own workplace? Think about all the little stops and starts, the downtime you've just come to accept as normal. What hidden potential, what untapped productivity is sitting there locked inside your equipment, just waiting for a new way of thinking to come along and set it free?